Hello guys. I was waiting for someone to introduce the workshop, but apparently I have to start like this, so let's go. So today, thanks for being here first. Yeah, great. So I want to speak about how to sell efficiently using McKinsey Top Consultant Framework. This is something I tweaked a bit to make it work for salespeople. So today I'll try to show you three things. First, how does these guys generate trust? So like top consulting firms today, they are quite my benchmark for how to sell and how to generate trust. So I'll show you how I understood they do that, because this is quite a challenge when coming to sales. Then I'll show you how I tweaked the framework to make it mine and sell more, so that you can do the same basically. And then I'll try to answer all your questions, all right? So this morning, someone told me I had to introduce myself before telling you all of this. So I'm the happy CEO of Meet Your Market, which is a specialized consulting firm, and our job is to help SaaS companies to sell more and faster, to increase the ARR from 0 to 1, and specifically from 1 to 10. We are doing consulting, but we're also doing trainings for any size of company, basically. The last year, so I've been doing that for 15 years, and the last year we've helped 130-ish SaaS company, while doing every Tuesday sales training on YouTube, which is quite original. Yeah, basically this is it. So today I'll try to talk with you. This is more going to be something like a question and answers to help you achieve better ARR per salespeople. So, are you all set with this? Do you agree with that? Yeah, good. So, when I started my sales career, because at the beginning I was the assistant of the chief sales officer of a French company, and I quite fast realized that sales wasn't what they taught me, basically. So it wasn't being charismatic, it wasn't being pushy, and it wasn't being a manipulator. So one day I just realized sales are not charismatic, pushy manipulator. Like the top performer you can imagine, these are not these guys. The great challenge for salespeople, like the best one at least, they are trust-building machines. And now this is the moment when you say, oh, thank you, Quentin, we've learned something. Yes, so this is basically the challenge. So the question is now, how to build trust very fast, because basically you only have 1 hour or something during your first meeting to build trust with your customer. And where I've looked at when coming to trust is the consultant of top consulting firm, meaning McKinsey, BCG, or whatever you can imagine. Why I think these guys are very strong at this, it is mainly for 3 reasons. The first one is they have a very strong and deep expertise in whatever they're talking to. So if you are a SaaS company in healthcare, like your salespeople have to be very good at understanding what healthcare means, and if it's HR for healthcare, they also have to be very good at what is human resources and what are the goals of directors of human resources and so on. The second reason is they give perspectives. They will teach to the customer few things, even if the customer is an expert. And the third one is communication. They are very good at communicating the ideas and also communicating that they understood the customer. This is something where we'll go later. So they are very good at building trust, where most of sales, from my point of view, aren't. Why I think this is so important, like everyone say, okay, selling, the most important thing in selling is building trust and blah, blah, blah. But do you know why people think that? Do you have examples? Why is it so important to build trust with the customer? Don't be shy. Yes? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes, it's a long run. Yeah, it's a long run play. Someone else? Yeah. there are some markets you're selling commodities, and your only key differentiators is going to be yourself, your sales team. That's true. But the reason is, like, I always like to give this example. If you're looking for a CRM, big fight on the CRM market. If you're looking for a new CRM, you're going to your best friend and you're asking him, what CRM should I take? He will take you, okay, I can tell you take HubSpot or Salesforce. I don't know if there are HubSpot or Salesforce people in the room. If he tells you takes HubSpot, there are big chances you will take HubSpot and the sale is done. Okay? So, and why is that? Because you trust your best friend. And if he tells you take Salesforce, you will do it. Maybe tomorrow you will start learning how to scuba dive and you're looking for a new wetsuit. You're asking your best friend, what wetsuit should I take? He will tell you, take this one, and you instantly buy this one. So as a salespeople, if we all had the same trust as the best friend of the customer, it would be very easy to sell to anyone. This is basically it. And so in this story on how to build trust and why is it important, I've came across the road of this woman, which is Barbara Minto. So she's the managing director at McKinsey, a former one, and she built a whole framework that is used across the world in McKinsey, but then in BCG and so on. Everyone is using this framework, which is the pyramid principle. So she wrote a book. I bring it. I love it. There is lots of notes and the pencil scheme on it and so on. I love this book. And she's basically teaching you. I don't have equity in the framework, but I love it. She's basically teaching you how to gather ideas, how to collect them, how to sort them, and how to communicate them, like consultants should do with all the C-level and executives in big companies. Okay, so all the guys in the world in McKinsey, this is like everyone is doing that for sure. Yeah. No question? Okay. And so I've been like very deep into that, and I really think this is something we can rely on to sell better. So to start with, here is this nice scheme I did to explain you how it works. So this is the whole idea. If you understand this scheme, you will understand everything. So let's start with the bottom. Okay. So the first step when talking to your customer, I'll come in with this idea later, but the first step is to gather data. This is where you do your discovery, okay? Oh, how do you manage all the customer complaint today and blah, blah, blah. You're asking all the questions, you're gathering data, okay? This is what consultants do. When they come first to the new customer and starting a project, they do the interviews, they're asking all the questions and blah, blah, blah. And then there is the challenge, because you have a lot of data, but you have to give meaning to it, to sort it out. And they create what they call, in the pyramid principle, insights. Basically, they like to have 3 key insights. So all this data, you have to put it in all these 3 groups. Do you know what's MECE? M-E-C-E. Everyone knows what MECE means? Yes. Former consultant, right? Oh, you read the book? Great. Former consultant? Yes. So MECE comes from this book, and as you can see, like former consultant, they know what it is. MECE is an acronym to say, like when you do groups like this, they have to be mutually exhaustive and mutually exclusive and collectively exclusive. Okay? These are mutually exclusive and collectively exclusive. Sorry, yeah, thank you. And I'll show you an example of what it means later, but basically, these have to be like perfect groups, perfect insight. You can't put one data in 2 groups, and all the 3 groups together, they can reflect all the data available. This is what it means, okay? And at the end, these 3 big ideas will deliver a key message. This is how you build all your discovery and client discovery when doing sales. This is how they do to do their consulting work at McKinsey, okay? But the thing is, you will work this way, but you will talk with the customer this way. starting with the key message. Okay? And this is very important. So I will show you an example. As you know, we had the Olympics in Paris. We are very proud of that. All the French people are no friend, and we are very proud of being French and blah, blah, blah. So I will give you an Olympics example. I've collected lots of data, like cycling, javelin, lots of different sports, taekwondo, boxing, skateboarding, okay? Can you do groups with that? Of course, you always can do groups. So let's see, I do combat sports, mounted sports, athletic sports. 3 groups. They are messy, which means if I put boxing in combat sport, I can't put it in mounted sport, it doesn't work. I can't put it in athletic sports, it doesn't work. And all these groups together, they represent all the data available. So this is way easy to communicate with the customer with this. But at the end, I booked my ticket for my favorite sport at the Olympic is the key message, okay? So let's say I want to communicate doing my demo of my SaaS in front of my customer. Where will I start? I'll start with the key ID. So if I want to communicate with you what I did this summer, I will first tell you, this summer, I booked my tickets for my favorite sport at the Olympics. And then you have the key message. And as an executive, you can leave the room at any time. And no, I know you have the key message. Then I'll tell you, yes, I did it. I booked combat sport, I booked mounted sport, and I booked athletic sports. And then as a C-level, you'll ask me, oh, really? You booked mounted sport? And I say, yeah. I booked horseback riding, I booked cycling, and blah, blah, blah. And then all the communication is very clear. And this is what builds trust between you and the executive you're selling to. It works, of course, with the executive, but it also works with any people you're selling to. And this is what creates this clarity and this thing like, oh my God, these people, like this salesperson is very structured, they know where he's going to, they know what's happening. But we can go way deeper than this, and this is where it comes to the methodology I've built based on that. So how to sell with that exactly? There are 3 steps: look, find, and use. The first one is to know what to look for as a salespeople with a customer. Because as I showed you before, you have to do groups with the IDs of your customer. But these groups, you don't have time to invent it during the meeting. It's too exhausting. You don't have the broadband to do it. So imagine your product, take your product right now, and imagine what could be the 3, 4, 6 key message, key benefits of your product. Most of you guys, it's going to be productivity, because in SaaS, productivity is often used. Maybe it can be savings. Maybe it can be anything, okay? So in 3 key elements, what does summarize your product? You create what I call pillars, okay? So when you have your pillars, when talking to your customer, you say, wait, first pillars is productivity. Let's start the conversation around productivity. How much time do you spend doing this? How much people are in charge of this? Blah, blah, blah. And you're talking with your customer. When having done this pillar, you're going to the second one. And it's gonna drive your conversation with the customer and help your salespeople never forget any area, any topic they have to cover to make sure they had the right conversation with their customer, right? Sounds clear? Good. So it's going to help them having the pillars before, because before talking to your customer, you know the topics you should cover with them. So give to your salespeople 2 to 5 pillars they have to cover. When they know what to look for, they have to know how to find these informations. This is when it comes to the prepared question. Does anyone know the spin selling methodology? Okay, great. Spin selling. This is the different kind of questions you can ask to a customer to bring him from like an objective situation. We are 10 salespeople, we are doing 10 quotes per day, to a strong impact, like any pain point can have on the business. Let's say, oh, we are doing all our quotes manually. It takes a lot of time, and it doesn't allow us to reach our target. The impact is we don't reach our target because it takes too much time to do the quote because it's manual, okay? So the spin selling will help you doing that, but you have to cross it with the pillar methodology, okay? So my message here is prepare your question, like these are 3 examples. What are you looking to improve? What does success look like? When, how much, who, blah, 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 around all your 3 topics. And then you understand how to use it. Because when you collected all this data, you already have your pillar, and then you can communicate to your customer and say, okay, Mr. Customer, from our let's say half-hour discussion, I understand 3 things. First thing I understand, you have productivity issues. You told me that, you told me that, you told me that, and you give all the metrics around that. Second problem you have, savings, and you told me that and that and that. And then you did one good thing for your customer, which is making clearer for him all the problem he has and to quantify it. Because most of the time, I'm sure you know, like people have problem, but it's not very clear for them, and it's like most of the time not quantified. Like you listen things like, oh, it's too much work. Okay, how much work is it? And they don't know it. And at the end of the conversation with you, suddenly they know how much does it cost them, like let's say, to do quotes. And they didn't knew it before. And you're winning with them because say, okay, this salespeople is different. I'm learning things, new things with him. First reason. Second reason, you're gaining lots of trust points. Say, I learned things, and all of my problems, they are clearer for me because I have my 3 topics, 3 categories. The last thing you do is these salespeople understood me because the way you communicate the problem and all the conversation is very clear. And suddenly, you're starting to be like the partner or trust advisor. Like every salespeople wants to be the trusted advisor of their customer, okay? This is how you become the trusted advisor of your customer. This is basically it. We have like 1 hour. I hope it was clear. And if you have questions, please, let's go. No question. Guys, do you know how to implement this when going back to the office? Okay, let's cover this if you want.
One question if you have you summarize the insight, for example, maybe in the minutes of the meeting, do you recommend to do a compte rendu of the call with the demo that
Yeah, exactly. This is also a way to do better quotes or better sum up after the meeting. You say, okay, Mr. Prospect, this is what we covered during the meeting. First, we covered productivity problems, blah, 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 blah. Then we covered, and so on. This is how you work with that.
So it's just a comment. At the very beginning, you mentioned that to build trust, we need 3 things.
Yep.
Specialized expertise, objective perspectives, and clear tailored communication.
Yep.
Unless I'm mistaken, I believe the pyramidal thinking only covers the third one, the clear communication. So my question to you, how do we build trust? Or do you have any tips to showcase specialized expertise and objective perspectives, but not looking too much, I don't know, pushy or...
Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay. I will start with the first one, like expertise. So actually, the pyramid principle will help you build at least the impression of expertise, because how structured you are. So this is how you will deliver your message. Will tell about how structured you are. Okay, so then you can use ChatGPT and say, you are head of human resources. What kind of problem do you have? Okay, this is something I actually did last month. I talked to ChatGPT asking him to do, I don't know how to say it in English, mais un journal intime. A diary. I asked him, imagine you are a head of human resources, and tonight, after 2 years of hard work, you're talking to your diary, and you're explaining him what are your pain points, what are your fears, and blah, 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 and then ask him to deliver that. And it was crazy to see, like I was basically talking in the intimacy of the head of human resources. And this is how I built a bit of expertise about human resources. The second thing, and I know you won't like it, is to read the same books that they do. So if you want to, so at MIM, the company, we want to dig very deep in cybersecurity. I'm reading books about cybersecurity, even I don't understand anything at the beginning. And I will ask the CEO of all the cybersecurity company we helped, what are the books are you reading? And at night, I'm reading cybersecurity books. What are the 2 top influencers in cybersecurity? And I'm subscribing to their LinkedIn account, reading what they do. And this is quite funny to see how like companies invest in training on sales methodology, but not on expertise, like true expertise. And for me, I call that the magic trinity of sales. You have 3 main, for me, kind of expertise to have as a salesperson. The first one is sales methodology. The second, actually, let's do it from the most important to the last one. The first one is expertise of your customer job and your industry. The second one is sales methodology. And the third one, and for me it's the last one, is on your product. If you have these 3, you're building the sales expertise. Yes?
Yes, so if I read you correctly, we should organize the sales team very much based, sorry? We should organize the sales team very much based on customer industries, so verticalization. Because if you want to be an expert, you can't cover 10 different industries, you have to be focused.
If you can do it, I would recommend to do it, but most of the, like many companies can't.
You don't have the critical mass to do it. So
Exactly. So if you can't, you have to choose whether it's a job expertise or the industry expertise. But the job expertise, it's way easier up to me to build rather than the industry one.
What do you mean, job expertise?
Like, what is the routine of a head of human resources? You also have to understand that. So, for example, okay, what's the company you're working for?
Actito, we are a marketing automation platform.
Okay, so your persona is probably the head of marketing?
Yeah, CRM, head of marketing.
Okay, so you have to understand, like, very precisely what is the job, the goals, the fears of any head of marketing in the world, right? This is way easier to understand and to do rather than understanding what's cybersecurity, how does it work, and blah, 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 and the recent trends, and I don't know it. So I would rather build expertise with industry, vertical, rather than a job. At best, you do both.
I was a consultant at McKinsey.
Okay.
And,
was it correct?
Yes, it's the core. It's the core.
Yeah.
I fully agree with you. And it's a daily fight with my teams because everyone wants to tell a story starting from the bottom. And it's awfully boring for a C-level.
Yeah.
Nobody will listen to it. Just take your messages across, the key message, and then you open the ears and the interest of C-level. But if you start by saying, we have analyzed hundreds of data points and you have
exactly.
this and that and this, no, you are out of the room after 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you.
That's absolutely the core of the McKinsey method. And the thing is, we became a very fast expert in any industry as consultants. I remember being thrown into a banking engagement without coming from banking because we had the support of the community.
Mm.
And because we had industry experts all across the network. And I'm just trying to find out how to reproduce this in our world and building expertise through existing communities which are outside your company, in fact, but that where you can rely upon the knowledge of experts, as you say, who are the top influencers in a specific industry, and then try to reach out to them, or at least incorporate their content into what you are saying.
Yeah, we did that actually last year with Remy from the team at Meet Your Market because we were working for a big cloud company and we had to build expertise very fast and we did something you already know, which is really easy. We paid people to teach us about it, like people on the field, and we paid them to answer all of our questions, and this way our ramp up in the industry was very, very fast, and we dig a lot.
What we did in our company is I hired an external consultant to bring expertise in a specific industry like retail. I hired a CMO from, ex-CMO from retail chain to teach the team what is a CMO job and what is the marketing job in a retail chain. And the most difficult is to make the salespeople agree that it is more important than knowing the product. And most of them will say, yes, it's fine, but I need to know the product.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, for the demo, maybe this is something you can use when going back to the office. When doing your demos, start with the top. Okay, don't say, oh, let's create a customer account to start with is my demo and blah, 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 and then let's do that. No. When you do your demo, when you start your software, start with the end, actually. Today, I will show you how to big promise. So that if the person is leaving the room, or if their attention span is going down, they got the main message. Okay? So how to, I don't know, get more leads with my software. Today, I will show you how you could get more leads with our software. And actually, there are 3 ways. The first one is this, the second one is this, and the third one is this. And then you dig. And maybe during the discovery, you understood that this one is not interested for your customer, so don't go. There is a game as doing your demo. The big game is trying to sell, showing as less as you can of your software. In SaaS, I like to say to my customer, you have to sell in 3 features.
Less is more.
Exactly. Choose 3 features. They have to be enough to sell. The thing is, which ones? And this is where the discovery and all this data gathering work is very important. Because if you shoot everywhere, like praying for your customer to be interesting, like your transformation rate can drop a lot, your conversion rate. So be careful with that.
I can't agree more. Most sales engineers want to show the full growth of the product and showing more and more because it shows the power of the product, but in fact the customer, they don't listen. And the key message is lost.
Exactly. Yeah.
You are talking about questions. How many questions would you recommend just to ask to the customers behind it, or just to?
63.
No, I mean that's quite difficult just to find a good way. Just to, I mean, when you are in the meeting for 50 minutes or
half of the meeting at least.
half of the meeting.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, and there are many, because if you don't have enough data and you don't, as a salespeople, you're not sure you can help the person, what's the point of doing the demo?
I get you.
So unless you have strong, like true, deep conviction, like you can help the person, like dig until you have it. And if you don't have anything, tell it to the customer. Okay, Mr. Customer, from now, I feel like everything is going well at company name. Why are we talking today? And you start from the beginning.
But I mean that I just don't like to spend like so much time with it and just feel like I'm a policeman just asking further and further.
Very good question. If it starts to be like the policeman, it's a problem. So you have several ways to avoid that. The first one, of course, and you know the answer, ask open question, open-ended question. Like instead of saying, do you have problem getting more leads? You say, how do you get leads today? Okay? So this is the first thing. The second one, try to ask question that your customer doesn't have the answer. Because what makes it boring sometimes is like, I'm answering all your questions as a customer, but it doesn't teach me anything. How many salespeople do you have in your team? How long have you been doing that? Blah, blah, blah. I answer all these questions, but it's not interesting for me. So avoid that and try to ask specific questions, showing you're an expert, and also maybe question the person in front of you didn't even ask herself first, or himself first. Okay, so this is the second point. And then give context, third point. Like, oh, 5 minutes ago, you told me about this issue you had, and it's not very clear for me. Can you help me digging into blah, blah, blah? Give more context before the question. And maybe a fourth one would be try to manage attention. Like, I still have 4 questions. In a few minutes, we'll see the demo, and blah, blah, blah. Maybe these are the 4 ways to do it.
Do you have any recommendations about, okay, let's say that your customers will just respond to a form. Do you have any recommendations about this type of questions? Do you recommend it just to make a form about it, or maybe ask it in real times and so on?
Forms are for uninteresting questions. Like all the questions that he can answer and doesn't provide value to him, you put it in forms, and then you go into the expertise and very interesting question live with him. I would do that. Plus your qualification question to make sure I can buy, because no one can sell to someone that can't buy, right?
Yeah. Just to continue on this topic of questions, sometimes we have prospects that for the demo that are very results oriented, very straightforward, and they simply don't want to be there. They think they know, they just want to hear about the solution first before answering the question. So how do you react to this kind of pushback to questions?
What's your value added showing the solution when not having any context versus having a video, for example, movie?
No, we have a bit of context, but they wouldn't want to enter too deep into the discovery phase. That's what we call for the questions. So they're like, yes. So we have an international onboarding platform. So the general context would be, okay, we need to hire someone in Germany. Okay, this is basically the question that we need. That's the information we need to know if they can use our solution or not. Then we ask more questions to be able to win this deal compared to competitors and so on. But sometimes the prospect is like, yeah, you know my issue, my problem is this, I know your solution solves it, please present the solution. And they don't want to enter into a lot of discovery questions.
So it's not necessarily a problem if you think you know enough to show the product. The question is why you think it's not enough when he thinks it's enough. And when there is a discrepancy like this, maybe you can figure it out with the customer and explain him what you think. And sometimes you just have to choose. Do you go forward knowing you shouldn't? Or do you decide not showing him the tool? I did it several times. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do it for this and this. And most of the time, when people doesn't want to answer the question, it's because they don't have, you didn't build enough trust with them. The problem is trust, actually.
The thing is, we have enough information to show the product, but we don't have enough information to win the deal. So that's...
Oh, okay, that's very different. Like, you have value question and you have qualification questions. So you have the medic and the speed and the bond and blah, blah, blah question. These are for you. Like, the prospect doesn't care about this. But this is for you, and this is probably what you think about when saying winning the deal.
Yeah.
So give him the demo, and then like try to go back to your question or try to use this question during the demo.
Okay.
It could be a way to solve that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Okay. Probably answered this already, but I wanted to make sure my understanding of the pillars that you mentioned was correct. I think you mentioned prepare. I think it was 2 to 5 pillars. With these pillars, are you referring to the product offering? And if so, what happens in the case where you feel that your product has many different functionalities, for example, or many different offerings? Is it not more important in that type of case to work out what the customers, like you said, problems and needs are first before you prepare the offering that you're going to present to them, or maybe I've not understood the...
What you're doing that actually is like, yes, like these are the big benefits or offering of your solution. Basically, this is what is written on your website. Productivity, savings, and blah, 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 okay? The big ideas around what you can bring to any customer, okay? To your target. The thing you will do by summarizing them into these pillars, you're wiring your customer brain to get your value proposition. Because if you say, okay, from what I understand, you have 3 kinds of problems. Savings, productivity. And you say, is it correct? Oh yes, that's very clear, that's very correct. Okay, then do you want to see our product? Yeah. And you see our product, and basically our product is doing 3 things. Productivity and savings. And so the link between the problem and the solution, it's a straight line. You can't go faster from point A to point B. I have a productivity problems, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he has productivity solution, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're preparing your customer brain to get your value proposition and to understand and sort it out very easily in his brain. This is why.
Yeah, no, I think that's helped to clarify what was meant by these pillars. Thank you.
Good. There is a question behind you, I think.
Well, quick tips, not a question,
Okay.
but not observation. One way of building trust very fast is to say, no, I can't do that.
Oh, sure. yeah, of course. Like when someone wants you to, when you refuse to sell something, it's a very strong way to build trust. So yesterday, I had the case actually. So I have a venture capital companies that call me to help one of their portfolio companies. And it was not exactly what we were doing. I could have helped. I would have won the deal probably. But I said, no, this is not core from our expertise. And I'm sure, and it happens many times, the same company, maybe in 2 or 3 months, because they ask me, oh, so what's your core expertise, and blah, blah, blah. Probably in 3 months, they will call me back to be helped. It's going to be easier. And sometimes, please, guys, don't use that as a strategy. Don't fake it. This is not what I want to teach you today. Don't bluff. But don't hesitate to use it if you feel like it will not be a match. And most of the great deals, it's obvious, very soon during the sales cycle. It's obvious. Big pain point, the customer has shared all the issues, they give you figures. So, yeah, great tips. Yeah. Do you want to mention?
Well, the framework is clear. Thank you very much for that. It is effective framework for converting a sale. In startups, we're all founders here. I think we're all founders cafe. In startups, at the early end, there's also the phase of customer discovery, where you're trying to understand your customers' problem points. You're trying to populate those data. How could this framework be applied to that phase?
Yeah.
It's a time that you don't have anything to say. You're not trying to close something.
Yeah, sure.
You're just trying to steal brains.
You're just trying to understand the pain points, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I will. Okay. So you're trying to understand pain points, but you're not trying to understand all the pain points. You're trying to understand the pain point that you can solve. And actually, the pain point that you can solve, these are the key insights. So when talking to your customer, you know the big theme. You know your big 3 categories you want to dig into. So it will help your salespeople or yourself, if you're the one selling, navigate through the conversation. And when because sometimes when talking to a customer, it's oh, they have no problems. I don't know what kind of question I could still ask. So go to your pillars and say, okay, I didn't dig into my 4th pillar. Let's go. And Mr. Customer, how many times does it take to do blah, blah, blah? And you go and you start asking your question. And if you want to have a great methodology to ask questions, read Speed Selling from Neil Rackham, which is a great book. I also did a video on this that will help you dig into your pillars. But the first step for all of you is to have your pillars. Most of the time, they are written on your website. If you don't know what to do, ask ChatGPT to go through your website and sort for you like 3 to 5 pillars, and you'll have them. And it will help your salespeople to do this discovery phase. Yep.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
Just to
welcome.
offer as information on that, there's a very good book called The Mom Test. I don't know.
The mom test? I don't know this one.
No, it's something very interesting. Experience-based framework for that early phase, how to extract information.
Okay. I look at it. Thank you. Any questions? No? Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.